Putting a show like this together, I mean, here in Las Vegas, an all-black burlesque show has been the culmination of a lifelong dream. But honestly, it has been one of the most difficult and challenging things I have had to put together. If I had to do it all over again, I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to think about that.
This Black History Month, we are highlighting locals who are creating their own history. Fox 5's Ankarika Azuka gives us a look at one project and how it is working to diversify the arts district.
The Lamar Theater in the Arts District is the first and only Black-owned theater in Las Vegas.
I don't think it's dawned on me yet. It's still really, really exciting. It's a bit surreal.
One of its weekly shows is Black Girl Magic, a burlesque show with an all-black cast.
There are not many or any black shows really for girls that look like me here in Vegas, so that's just something that is very, very, very important.
Pratt says the city was supportive of the project with business and liquor licensing and says they're excited to help revitalize the arts district.
It's making a comeback. It's making a comeback, and if we know anything about the history, we know that it wasn't always as diverse as it is now. So I think that's what helps us be a part of the history making of the downtown project.
Ankarika Azuka, Fox 5 News, local Las Vegas.
She knows she got it, like automatic, no doubt about it. That black girl, go black girl, that black girl magic. Number one attraction, it's so erotic. Go black girl, that black girl magic. I was out on the strip, just thought I would end up somewhere. Hit Uber for a lift, the driver like take me there. I need some chocolate like a Kit Kat. She knows she got it, like automatic, no doubt about it. That black girl, go black girl, that black girl magic. Number one.
When Eureka came to me with the idea about, doing an all-black burlesque show in Vegas, I already knew that casting was going to be our most difficult area. We have to find dancers, and knowing that I have a dancing background, I had to make sure that these girls were on their P's and Q's, that they can hit every routine.
I've been trying to step out of the stripper world for a long time into something more conservative and something realistic. Once I did get the call back that I made Black Girl Magic, I was thrilled, okay?
So dance has always been a huge part of my life. I actually was inspired by my grandma. She was a ballroom dancer. So I grew up watching her teach others, how to ballroom dance. That's when I first learned about 8 counts and the different counts in ballroom dancing. I have a multicultural background. My mom is Filipino and my dad is Black. So it kind of influenced my style today. I grew up listening to big bands because, like I said, my grandma was a ballroom dancer. So we always used to listen to Frank Sinatra, in the car on the way to work and school. On my dad's side, it was just a little bit more urban. We had more rap influence, more R&B influence, and jazz influence as well. I grew up listening to a lot of oldies too. So even when I dance today, it's just more, I like just the whole 70s funky vibe. And here I am in Las Vegas, a part of Black Girl Magic. And it's my first foray into burlesque.
Hi, my name is Angel Spencer. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I've been dancing since I was 4 years old and doing choreography since I was 15. I started originally doing ballet with sophisticated dance and in Movement for Jesus. My dance dad at the time, Elm Pizzario, he found me and was like, I want you to come and teach a class. I was teaching classes at Rosecrans Recreation Center in Gardena. I moved to Vegas when I was 19 years old, and I've been doing a few shows here. I did MJ Live. I've been doing some shows with Morris Day. The difference between the two of me working at my other shows, not to name any names or anything, and Black Girl Magic is this specifically. I've never done a show where it's all Black women, or even just Black people in general. I've never been in a show where I see people that look like me, I talk to people that look like me, have conversations with people that understand where I'm coming from on a different logical standpoint. Even the humor is different. The humor is different. The communication is different.
I'm from Texas. I'm from Dallas, Texas, so I'm a Midwestern kind of girl. I've been in Vegas for about a year now. When I joined Black Girl Magic, that was the first time I had heard about burlesque dancing. I've never heard about burlesque until then. So burlesque is like fucking on stage. Not like physically, but like mental fucking, right? So it's not just, you know, like a strip club where it's all about tits and ass and all the physicality. It's a mental fuck. It's a mind fuck. It's about being sexy and enticing and getting people to really drawn into your dance, your character.
I'm originally from Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm 23 years old, and pretty much my whole life I've been surrounded by sports, basketball, track, and I've also done a little bit of modeling once I graduated high school. So when I made the move to Vegas, obviously this is a really big city and looking to get into the entertainment industry. I love being on stage.
Here in Las Vegas, there are a series of burlesque shows, primarily white burlesque shows. The only black female burlesque show in Las Vegas is, in fact, Black Girl Magic. And I have to tell you, in order to really appreciate the significance of that, you have to understand the history of burlesque in this country.
I'm originally from Newark, New Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl, and I grew up like any other child, wanting to sing and dance and, you know, make-believe talent shows with my cousins in the middle of the night. I took ballet class as a child. I took tap. I had singing lessons, and I even started, you know, acting as a young child. I had headshots, things like that. We would travel to New York for different agencies. And my mom was the driving force behind all of that. She just always believed that I was going to be a child star and I was just going to be the next thing. And so, you know, a few years later, when I was 11 years old, she packed us all up, me, my kid brother, and my stepfather, and we drove across country to Los Angeles, California. And that is where I really started to open up. And I took headshots there. And throughout high school, I did, you know, different stage plays and musicals and drama class and dance. I was in dance class, modern jazz. And from there, I landed my first acting gig. And I've done everything from television to movies.
Magnus. Not that that's surprising.
That's the Afrocentric one, right?
Yeah, Nat Turner, if Nat Turner was a stripper. just want to be like, oh, Miss Bryant, I want to talk to you about your grade if you available. And what did you say? I was like, girl, I got this. I got this easy A. So whatever suggestions you got, whatever, I am totally open. You would never think of... Ugh, no, not this.
How's that? Okay, so let's say we're on schedule. And let's say they got the safe. And let's say we can get past that army of soldiers that's probably going to be accompanying this thing. Not much, I'm afraid. He issued a standard support letter of students maintaining current prices. Sounds like all bullshit to me.
To now producing my own show, which I think was, for me, a natural progression. And I just, once I reached, I would say, maybe my mid-20s, early to mid-20s, I packed up, moved to Las Vegas, the stage of all stages. And here I am, just still working and pushing hard to really make a name for Black Girl Magic.
But I really feel like it's empowered me in everything else that I do in my life, just because I'm not afraid to be myself. I'm not afraid to like really step out of my shell, so to say, whether that is just like the physical shell of clothing or like having to, you know, be confident in front of speaking, you know, for example, or something like that. So I feel like they all go hand in hand, and yeah, I feel like it's only helped me grow. It's definitely not a journey that I share with everyone until this moment.
I'm a ballet dancer. First I started as a ballet school, finished a ballet school, and after that I did Frank Hashian in New York. I did jazz, hip hop, flamenco dancer. I studied flamenco for the past 25 years and pretty much dedicate my life to teach dance classes in Los Angeles, in Japan, in Mexico, in South America, in Spain too. Burlesque represent what is the feminism, the class, the woman.
Burlesque itself derives out of a European tradition. It's a British import, for lack of a better phrase. It was brought to this country by during the 17th, 18th century. Lydia Thompson was the first burlesque dancer to come and introduce this art form to Americans. It later became more popularized, but essentially burlesque was, as this new art form, was sort of comedy infused. It had jugglers, it had comedians, and it was really a way of women to express in a sort of a comedic way their sensuality and sexuality, but making sort of a mockery of it. It later became a little more popularized by American burlesque dancers who added a little more sensuality. But as it began to expand, it really started to exclude black women. It was an all-white female art form dominated by white women for a very long time. In fact, black women who wanted to get into burlesque were shunned, and the door was essentially closed to them, and they found themselves doing what was at that time considered shake dancing.
I have always been intrigued by the idea of burlesque. It's glamorous, it's all these pretty women with the lashes and the makeup and the hair and the beautiful gowns and different sexy outfits. I grew up watching Josephine Baker, Marilyn Monroe, and even the cartoons I watched as a kid. I loved Betty Boop. And it's not until I got a little older that I realized that she was sort of a burlesque dancer. She had the garter belt on, and she had the sexy dress. And I just always loved the idea of it. I loved the glamorous actresses, Mae West, and those women of that time. They were poised, they were pretty, they talked about, all the pretty things, diamonds are a girl's best friend. And when it comes to Black women, it's just not, that particular form of expression is not something that is open to us. It doesn't come easy. We have these different stereotypes and stigmas that's attached to us that no matter, and we're also overly sexualized. So it's hard to be pretty and soft and all of that without being overly sexualized. When coming up with the title of Black Girl Magic Burlesque, we spent some time really trying to figure out what the right title was. And it had to be something that, one, rolled off the tongue fairly easy, something that was easily Googleable, something that was encompassing of what being a Black woman is. And that is strength, that is empowering, it is intriguing, it is inspiring, it is strong, it's also soft, it's glamorous, it's pretty, it's fierce, it's Beyonce, and what better phrase than Black Girl Magic? It encompasses everything that I believe that we are. We are resilient, we're beautiful, we're talented, we have culture, and there's just a certain vibe.
Not just a piece.
And so burlesque has a very, very, and Black performers in general and burlesque have a very, very turbulent relationship with the city. Josephine Baker became a huge burlesque star in Europe, just a superstar. And after her popularity and fame, she had the notion to come back here in the States, back home, to perform. And one of her first stops, her residency, was here in Las Vegas. And when she was issued her contract by the casinos, who at that point in time were segregated, Las Vegas was termed the Mississippi of the South, one of the last bastions of white supremacy, believe it or not. And when she was issued her contract, it read specifically that there could be no Black audience members at her shows. And she protested, and she would only perform in front of an integrated audience, which was at the time unprecedented. And of course the hotel stood firm on its grounds that there would be no performances. She then appealed to the NAACP here in Las Vegas, and eventually, after several weeks of protests, the Moulin Rouge agreement was reached here in Las Vegas between the NAACP and the hotels. And essentially what that agreement stated was that there would be accommodations for people of color on some of their nights, some of their shows, and which included, of course, Josephine Baker's show. So Josephine Baker, as an early pioneer of burlesque, was instrumental in the advancement of Black people here and the treatment of Black people here in the city of Las Vegas. This was during the 50s and the 40s, and over time it has obviously gotten a lot more accommodating the city has to its Black performers. So it is no mystery why there is a dearth or a lack of Black burlesque shows here in Las Vegas. It has a history of discrimination when it comes to Black female performers.
been very challenging for me, but at the same time, I'm been learning a lot because it's not just what has been done in the past, it's what new can happen, what new can represent. And I think little by little, we're going to get to a point that we can show a representation of what is a Black woman burlesque show.
I have to make sure that these women can be in unison, that they are hitting their P's and Q's, that they have a dancer background, and that they can follow choreography, because it's very hard to do an 8 count when you're doing it with other ladies. It's easy to do a solo, and some of them have some solo background, solo training, but not working with other, female dancers.
I couldn't start this show without seeing what was out there. So I went out to see Fantasy, which is the biggest female burlesque show here in Las Vegas. And I did my research. I saw Fantasy, I saw some of the other white burlesque shows here in Las Vegas, and also took a trip to the famed Burlesque Museum in downtown Las Vegas. I wanted to learn everything burlesque, and this place was a treasure trove of information. It started with a tour of the history, so I decided to record my tour with this amazing historian.
What we do cover here is more specifically on the history of burlesque in the United States. So from here, we're going to flash forward to around the 1860s. During this time, there was an established stage performer by the name of Lydia Thompson that traveled from the UK to the US with the British blonde, and they opened up their shows.
I got to see the incredible burlesque costumes on display dating back to the turn of the century. Elegant gowns, photographs from early pioneers of burlesque. And as I got this fascinating history of some of these early champions of burlesque, I started to realize what these women had in common. They were fighting for power over themselves and their freedom of expression through this art form. Then suddenly, I fell on the first single Black portrait I noticed on display.
We have a portrait of Matilda Ciceretta Joyner Jones, but she's more commonly billed as the Black Patty. To give a little more context here, there was another opera singer by the name of Adelaide Patty, who was a white woman, so the way they differentiated
the Black Patty.
Yeah. Racism. But anyway, she was an operatic soprano and was very much beloved by a variety of foreign dignitaries, and so she'd be wearing all these medals on stage and be quite literally glimmering in the lights, very much like you would see a burlesque singer today.
So there are burlesque dancers and burlesque
There's
singers.
burlesque singers, there's burlesque comedians, so it's all facets of entertainment. Especially when we get into the turn of the century, we'll dip a little bit more into the vaudeville and burlesque and their connections with each other as well too. She was also the head of her troupe as well. That was Black Patty and her Troubadours. Now her show, it would have looked a little bit different from Lydia's. Like I said, it would have had that vaudeville variety feel to it. So she'd book singers, dancers.
Well, you're not going to find Black Patty in any of your history books or any of these burlesque dancers for that matter. But I started to see a pretty clear picture of what this world is. And despite conventional thinking, stripping is not the most important part of the burlesque tradition. These ladies were all driven by a sense of purpose, committed to making a statement about who they were despite the risk. Yes, many of them were arrested for lewd behavior. Some were fired, ostracized, because burlesque, even the early, more tame version of burlesque, was considered vulgar and obscene. Many of these women were forced to go underground and perform at speakeasies or bars. I spent the entire afternoon appreciating the history and clearing up some of the misconceptions that even I had about burlesque. Now, I was even more committed to adding this information as layers to my journey into this world. A Black burlesque show now seemed even more urgent now in the face of this information, especially here in Las Vegas. And once I got the blueprint and I saw, the different mechanics of it and how it worked and the themes and the quality of dancers and talent and just, what the blueprint was, I immediately got to work and I told my choreographer, we've got to cast.
I have background dancing in ballet, jazz, modern. When I auditioned, the audition process was a little nerve-wracking. There were some girls that had more dance experience than I did. There were also some girls that didn't have as much experience as I did.
I've realized getting into Black Girl Magic that it's gonna take more than just dancing. It's a little bit more like choreography, skill, and a lot of different techniques.
Because it's different body type. We're talking about a black female body. It's completely different than a white female body. The shape of the woman and the black woman is a little bit more full. It has a little bit more curves. So it's a little bit more difficult to place your body on places that you can help yourself so you can maintain the balance. It's a lot of difference than a white girl. For this kind of dancing, you need to have a different way to place your body, even in heels. Women's in heels, for black girls, it's a little bit difficult. It's in LA, they meet to doing a heel classes so everybody can start learning how to do heels, but we just started. It's the same way here in the show. I noticed it and how to place the body in heels, how to have the right body shape so you guys don't throw yourself away. Being as a trained ballet dancers, you're learning how to manipulate your body. In this case, we're trying to teach it to them, to all of them, how to manipulate your body with cardio classes. We start doing some cardio classes in the morning. We start doing some extra time at night so we can work in those kind of issues that we have right now in the show.
Burlesque is a huge market here in Las Vegas. If you think about it, the moment you get off the plane, it's billboards and flyers and artwork of beautiful women, from strip clubs to burlesque shows to just beautiful women for no apparent reason or reasons I don't know. And the taxi cabs, beautiful women. Call this number or come see this show. There's sexy, there's fantasy, there's X this, X that, and it's just women everywhere you go. And that goes for the entire country, but especially in Las Vegas. The idea of seeing women in a show is like the biggest plug here in Las Vegas. It is a huge market, huge opportunities, and it's endless. And what makes us special is that while you're surfing and searching through, the different women and different shows, we are the only Black burlesque show in Las Vegas.
I will hire, a production manager to put the show together, especially from creative, from top to bottom, from set list, making sure the flow of the show just goes. Like, people want to be entertained by the show. And so I approach it that way. I just knew burlesque was not a strip show. It's just a little bit different. And so working with the women, I knew it was going to be kind of challenging to get them all together to work together.
Why you so serious? Why you hide to me your feelings? Who told you that if
A lot of the girls that came into audition were pretty, but most were strippers. Now, that didn't bother me as much as the mentality. A stripper mentality won't work in burlesque.
When I first auditioned for Black Girl Magic, I brought all my best stripper moves because that's what I thought burlesque was. But it's way, way more than that. It's about choreography. It's about a theme. It's about crowd interaction. It's way more. It's everything all tied in one.
So the difference is between stripping and burlesque is stripping is just, you know, you look cute, you just bust it wide open, you get some money, and then you can't do it for a long time, and then you go home. Burlesque is more technique, you know, like jazz, it's kind of like hip hop, it takes skills.
I really wish more strippers knew about burlesque because, I mean, stripping, it can be a little degrading, right? And burlesque is looked at as more, it's classier, right? It's sexy, it's more professional.
It was actually my boyfriend's mom who found out about Black Girl Magic because she didn't like me stripping to begin with. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's something I would definitely love to do. It's just much more classy than exotic dancing.
As challenging as auditions were, I slowly started finding some gems along the way. After a few months, I discovered a few that had some fundamental dance training.
Applying the pressure like you got something to prove. And I can't lie, it's something about the way you move. I bet everybody in here wish they...
Transitioning into burlesque, I'd say, was a lot smoother transition for me than some of the girls because of my jazz background. Jazz teaches you how to be very expressive with your movements and to interpretate how you feel through your body.
And then once I was able to find, you know, the talent that I wanted, I now then had to maneuver past their different personalities, different sets of, you know, for lack of a better word, I would say baggage that comes with just being Black and being in Las Vegas and being an entertainer, aiming to be an entertainer. It just comes with so many pitfalls.
As a producer, your vision has to be very defined, or else the competitors will define it for you. They're gonna put you in a box. They're gonna say it's a strip show when we are a all-Black female burlesque show. You know, we want to make sure that we are defined with class, with elegance, and to give the creative eye of what women accentuating all Black beauty.
Immediately after casting our first group of ladies, we set up a photo shoot and the tension was immediate. You could feel it. They were not going to get along. They were complaining about hair, who's going to be featured. A few were fine, but the signs were evident that these girls were not going to get along. I know the signs. So they were each called into the office and some were let go. They just didn't fit in.
So when I produce any events, films, TV shows, music videos, etc., I want to make sure that I'm looking for the right cast, the right group of ladies that know how to work with each other. Seeing as though Eureka is going to be a part of the show, I wanted to make sure that everybody accentuates and works with her. We don't want no nasty attitudes. Can't have that. We don't want no girls who think they are above anybody else. We want to make sure that everybody works as a team. If you are shy, as long as you come out on stage and make sure that you can present to the world that this is, you know, you're here to put on a show, I'm all fine. But as soon as there's a bad attitude, you gotta go. We're not playing any of that. I don't do any of the bad attitudes, especially those who are very stuck up.
There was one girl who just, again, very talented, because they're all super talented, very talented and full of energy. But her background, and you know, she was from the hood, and she had the hood mentality. If you looked at her weird, or you weren't sure what she was talking about, or you walked too fast, she's just ready to fight. And that I can't have. We can have that. I have a zero tolerance for violence, zero tolerance for bullying, and zero tolerance for not being a team player. Those are all the different things that I've just had to sort of wean throughout the casting process and building out the right team. And I think that just might be a constant thing. We had one dancer who She just loved the attention. And I'm like, yes, get the attention from the audience. But if I'm busy, my partner's busy, choreographer's busy, you cannot be upset because we didn't notice your new hair today. And with us, we're constantly changing our hair. We've got wigs, we've got weave, we got hair dye. And it's just so hard to keep up with, and all these different personalities.
There may be some people that may not be my cup of tea in the moment when it is, but that just comes with the territory. That comes with everything that you do, whether you go to work, you go to school. Not everybody is your particular flavor of person, but at the end of the day, you make it work.
I would say I get along with all the girls. I'm sorry. Let me not even lie. I'm sorry, Jesse. I'm trying to keep it neutral here. No. Settle. What's the question?
So what's the culture like? How do you get along with the girls in the back? Are there some girls you like more than others? Like what is it?
I think I like all the girls. Like, honestly, I think me and all the girls, we really I can't even say this with a straight face right now. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. I'm going to say this. I want to, oh my gosh. I would love to get along with all the girls. Like, I personally do believe that I am still new here, so there are some girls that I don't know where we stand yet, which is okay, because they don't know me, I don't know them. They don't know me from Adam, and I don't know them from Adam. So, but overall, I think there's a respect level, which to me is very important. As long as we respect each other, we don't have to necessarily be the best of friends. We don't really have to like each other necessarily, but as long as we keep that, when we walk into this theater, we're going to respect one another and keep it cordial and just make sure that we're here for the same reason. We're here to put on a show. We're here to dance, and we're here to do what we love. That's personally all that matters to me. So I think me and the girls are good. I think Eureka is my favorite, personally. I love Eureka. I love all the girls. I think Sharice is really nice. I think Bree's really nice. I think all the girls are nice.
So in the beginning, Kim and I really didn't get along. We just had our differences and had things that we didn't always agree on. But as the months we've been performing together and rehearsing together have kind of come along, we've really started to kind of get into a groove of things, and we really started to vibe with each other, and there's no hard feelings, there's no ill intentions, we just get along. We're actually pretty good friends now. We go out together, we have fun, and that's what it's all about.
There's definitely a huge difference when working with men than working with women. Men are way more easygoing when it comes to giving them orders, choreography. They kind of go with the flow. They don't like to have a lot of drama. There's no attitudes in the dressing room or any of that. But when you work with women, on the other hand, women, they tend to be more bossy, more controlling, more attitude. It's not easy talking to them because they think they know it all. I can't stand a know-it-all. So if I prefer working with men. I already knew it was going to be challenging working with women, but it was a task that I am able and willing to do to produce Black Girl Magic.
So with Black Girl Magic, I think that my assumption was going to be that same type of camaraderie and just really everyone going hard for the cause for each other. And I'm not going to say that was not the case entirely, but I think that there are definitely added layers to it, and maybe even a sense of entitlement in a sense, that I don't even think comes from a bad place, but just, not, how do I phrase this? I'm trying not to be offensive. So yeah, I will say that some of the ladies have, more professional dance background, where I think that they would a lot of times expect to get certain treatment that maybe they would get in those other spaces. So, when it came time to kind of roll up your sleeves and have to do the work and have to show and prove for our show, Black Girl Magic, because it is new. it's not just a name that people know. It's not, you know, built on one of these established corporations, or, you know, it's not like an MGM facilitated show where there's an endless amount of marketing budget. Like, we do have to do the extra work to put ourselves out there and to really build the show. And I think that, you know, there's just been maybe some misunderstandings with the girls in the cast that we've had, with some of the ladies who we don't have anymore, where they're definitely amazing performers and like great girls. We got very close with each other just because we see each other so much. And I think, you know, we had a great time performing together, but I think the kind of like fundamental disconnect of understanding that this is something that has to be built from the ground up versus just coming into a pre-existing show and, you know, just having to show up and leave during your scheduled hours and not have to do anything else outside of that, you know, may have made some people feel like they, you know, maybe were being asked to do too much. I think that's been the most difficult part because, like I said, I'm kind of hardwired to be an overachiever. So it didn't strike me as an issue.
I pretty much get along with everyone, from staff and talent. I believe that if you maintain a positive attitude and an overall disposition, people will naturally respond in kind. I also believe that leadership trickles down, so I have to always be positive. Sure, occasionally the ladies, they'll have some issues amongst one another, minor stuff, nothing crazy, and you know what? I always afford everyone a bad day or two, as long as it doesn't affect everyone else. And I also encourage the girls that every night before you go out on that stage, you must be focused. Go over your routine, your choreography, and get into performance mindset. Because most drama, they come from people, especially women, when they have a lot of idle time and just have time to focus on negative vibrations. The dressing room, that should be a place of encouragement, a positive space, so that your art can flourish. Part of putting together a team is a couple of things. One is being able to work with each other, but also being able to enjoy each other's company and being there for one another. So what I do is sometimes we put together weekly barbecues at my house. We all enjoy the pool. We share jokes and laugh and play music. And sometimes we rehearse here at my house. And we jump around. Sometimes one of the girls will host it at their homes. And, you know, we'll go see different shows together just to make sure that we are constantly building a bond and a strong foundation. So in setting up the structure of the show, I came up with a format that was a 3-act structure. And that 3-act would involve a host, which was me. I am the host of Black Girl Magic. Ohio, all right, make some noise from Ohio for Ohio here. Texas? Oh, Texas, okay. I know you know how to turn up. We got a birthday boy. And we got a birthday boy. And I just decided, you know what? If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. And I went back to the fundamentals. I had to. I started taking dance classes again. I started working with my choreographer, who I hired to work with other dancers, had now become my choreographer. I relearned how to sort of the different fundamentals. How do you walk? Remain sexy as you walk. Point your toes. How your hands should always look throughout the night. The different ways. If you're going to put your hands up, they are up. They're not sort of flailing around in the wind. You know, never look down when you're dancing. Stare out into the audience or into the abyss, I would say, if you're a little nervous. And just, you know, relearning all those different things and hearing phrases like kickball chain and paddle beret were things I had not heard since I was a kid. And it was,
I went back to the basics and I learned it all over again.
A good burlesque show for me is how do you combine the performer, how do you strip, how do you take the clothes, how do you combine it with the music in the way of the theme of the entire number. So sometimes it has to be how delicate you are or how strong you are. Some of the music, it will give you everything. The dynamic of the music, it will give you, right, exactly how do you want it to that represented and show it. So for me, it's how do you do that and you execute those kind of numbers. It's going to make you stand up. We talk about ex-burlesque, we're talking about striptease, all the shows that has been here in all these years. The difference in between them is how do you present it. Some of them presented a little bit more and have a theme on it. Some of them, they have a little bit more dedicated what is the woman's present themselves and take the clothes off. It's a lot of difference in between just taking your clothes or the style, how you take your clothes, and pretty much is how do you combine it with the music. A lot of the shows like Le Femme, it was very clever in the time that was here in Vegas because it was nothing presented that way. It was presented in a way that was very classy. It wasn't grotesque or wasn't a little bit dirty. It was more like a classy way to present the beauty of the woman. Sometimes they were not taking the clothes, they already have no clothes, but the way they present themselves, they make it look like so beautiful. A good burlesque show for me is how do you combine the performer, how do you strip, how do you take the clothes, how do you combine it with the music in the way of the theme of the entire number. So sometimes it has to be how delicate you are or how strong you are. Some of the music, it will give you everything. The dynamic of the music, it will give you, right, exactly how do you want it to that represented and show it. So for me, it's how do you do that and you execute those kind of numbers. It's going to make you stand up. For me, my style of choreography, I let them have a little bit of freedom so they can grow. They can show a little bit who they are. Why? Because they're the one that performing. Yeah, I just tell them and I push them and guide them what it has to be and I give it to them. It depends what the music is telling me. My type of style is very musical. I work a lot with the music. I don't think so much, I feel pretty much. So that's what I'm trying to do, encourage everybody to feel it and do better.
And now that my dreams had finally come true, I am the star of a Las Vegas show. I produce my own Las Vegas show that I star in. I'm dancing, I'm learning choreography, I am now building stamina, but I'm also a producer of the show. So it sounds like, okay, you're wearing two hats. It feels like I'm wearing 1,000. I'm in the middle of putting makeup on and fixing my lashes. I've got to hear from the DJ. What's the new set list? The song has changed. This dancer has not made it. Dancers are asking me about their costumes and where's the wardrobe. This has been misplaced. Such and such is late. It's just a plethora of different things from have the crowds been seated yet? Because I am a producer, so I have to make sure that we are on time, making sure that everything is beginning on time. Is the bar open? Is the music going? Is there enough ambient in the room? Is there enough fog? Is there enough lights? Are the lights working? And just, and then of course, as a character, as the host, am I ready? Are my costumes ready? Where's my shoes? Where's my makeup? Just so many different things.
So when I'm performing, I pretty much get lost in the crowd. I just dance my heart out. I give it all of me.
We rock. I said we rock. 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 We flying up. We taking off. 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 I'm flying. We winning. I'm flying. We winning. I'm flying. We winning. I'm flying. We winning. We flying. line up and we.
I'm trying to connect with the audience that I'm the star. You're here to see me. You're here to throw money on me. You're going to dream about me in your dreams, and you're going to remember me forever.
Open house, open all them doors. Not Germany, you never heard of me, and now we on fire like a third degree, and my song could.
When it comes to my set, I think that it really connects to burlesque because burlesque is all about reclaiming your power, and that's pretty much what I'm doing on stage. I'm claiming that power over everyone in the audience.
Easy love, you give me easy loving. Easy love, yes you do. Easy love.
My initial goal was you have to fight for my attention. You have to fight for me to even give you anything. Obviously, I'm going to give it to you because I have to. It's my job. But you have to do a little bit of work for it. Just like pay attention to me. I'm here, type of situation.
Kind of get the best of both worlds. It's classy, but we also do a little striptease.
So burlesque, it's not like any other style of dancing. It's actually, you got to have a lot of guts to do it. It's not, a group of dancers that can hide behind each other. We can just kind of fake it till you make it. You're out there, you're exposed, you're not only dancing, but you got to be sexy with it. You have to have an attitude with it. You have to be confident.
Creating a burlesque show is just half of the job. Once you've created the show, once you've put your format together, once you've casted, you've got your team going, you've got your location, then the business starts. You now have to get people into the seats. You have to sell tickets. And in order to sell tickets in a market like Las Vegas, you have to get on the different brokers that are in town. You've got to meet with different hotels and their concierges. You're in meetings all day. You're pitching your product. You are taking meetings with the different websites and different brokers that are in town, different taxi cabs and different ways of marketing and promoting, from billboards to flyers to ticketing booths, just the entire nine. And it is no easy feat. You're also up against some big, huge productions. You've got fantasy. And not only are you, just because we're a burlesque show, our competition is not just the other white burlesque shows here in Las Vegas. It's the Jabberwockies, it's Michael Jackson. And so just like I had put together my dance team, my choreographer, and, show producers, I really had to put together a business team. I needed a partner, I needed an investor, and I needed someone, just different team members that had some business sensibilities and marketing experience. And so I put together a business team. And my partner, who happens to also be a filmmaker and marketing genius, really helped, sort of bridge the gap of those missing pieces that we needed to really garner those relationships, and also just make sure we were putting out the right image to get the right feedback.
Doing business in Las Vegas is not like doing business anywhere else. It's a very unique environment in that it is a tourist-based economy. And so there are a lot of things that have to be factored into creating a show, producing entertainment here in Las Vegas. Coupled with that is the idea that it is an attractive prospect of having a Las Vegas show. But because it's attractive, there are also hundreds of shows here yearly. Most shows that go up don't make it past 3 months. And that is statistically a reality because everyone wants to come here and create a show. One of the concerns, obviously, when you are putting up a show is your target audience. Who's your target audience? What exactly are you trying to what story essentially are you trying to tell? Because that really affects how you approach your business. Everything from marketing to staffing to broker relationships, all of that comes into play. And when Eureka first approached me about creating an all-black female burlesque show, the first thing I went to was, well, how many female burlesque shows are there in Las Vegas, and how profitable are those shows? Well, that answer was pretty evident after I did some research. Very, very successful. As a matter of fact, of all the genres that exist in the entertainment scene here in Las Vegas, burlesque shows are among the top 5 genres in terms of profitability. So that was answered. Now the question becomes, well, how many black female burlesque shows exist? And again, after some research, that answer was evident. There were none. So that made it both attractive as well as challenging, because we'd have to now carve out an audience, right? And burlesque itself is such a niche product that you have to be very surgical with the way you approach this. Guys that want to see female dancers or entertainment typically go to a strip club or a strip show. They're not thinking burlesque. So we have that competition that exists. The genre itself is not a very widely known genre. So there's that additional issue. You have to build awareness, and people have to become more and more familiar with what you're selling. And of course, adding the fact that it's all black also sort of downsizes your prospective audience. And so the challenge was multifold. First, it was identifying the audience. And then it was, how do we compete with some of those alternatives out there like strip clubs? And we really delved deeply into that and tried to create a business model that we believe could sustain over some time. So you include just the right amount of sexy without it sort of delving into strip club. All of what I just shared just now, we had to share with our brokers, our ticket sellers, just so that they were all on the same page and understood how to market our show, when they are marketing, how to approach selling tickets to the show. It is not an overwhelmingly expensive show to produce, but it does have some unique costs. And those were also things that were factored in, because what would we charge in terms of ROI? What would we charge in order to see our investment back? And would someone pay, $60 to see a burlesque show when they could pay $20 to go see a strip show, or $25 to go see a comedy show? Well, we first had to make the show attractive. So we had to hire very attractive women. So that was the sort of first. So if your product is selling pretty girls performing, or women performing, you have to go out and cast women that represent that. It also had to be a very good show that told a story that many other shows like it were not telling. And that is where the creative came into play.
Most burlesque shows in Vegas don't involve tipping. So I wanted our show to be a little bit different. So I wanted to involve funny money for tipping for the audience, as in engage with the dancers, and it makes it more fun.
Who's got funny money? Funny money, put your funny money, raise your hand if you got some funny money. All right, you got some funny money. All right, funny money is how you interact with us, all right? When we're on stage, you show us some love. When we're in the audience, show us some love, all right? We're here to have some fun. Use the funny money to tip, not that kind of tip.
It's so erotic. Go black girl, go black girl. That black girl magic. I was out on the strip. Start off putting up somewhere. Hit Uber for a lip.
One of the main components of this show, and what we really set out to do, was make it interactive, make it a fun experience, make it different. And we came up with the funny money concept. It's not real money, it's play money. It's a simulation to get the audience involved. We don't charge for it, it's completely free, but it really goes a long way in heightening the experience of the show.
I see Black Girl Magic going on a tour, honestly, like a world, even if it's just a United States tour. I see us visiting a bunch of different theaters all around the world or all around the United States and putting on a show with a live performance weekly, or even expanding to Black Girl Magic in LA, expanding to Black Girl Magic in Texas, in New York. I just see the show not just being a Vegas-based show.
As we grow, if we would find, an investor that comes in to just help take the show to the next level. There is another tier. We're still working on this one.
We sat down with some choreographers. We sat down with some talent coordinators. We sat down with partners, producers, to create a very unique experience with Black Girl Magic.
Black Girl